Humans of the cardboard, you all know what it is. We are back with another locals report here, talking about my updated. This is version 3 of Labyrinth post Darkwing Blast. Having a lot of fun with the deck. Went 4-1 this week, so another pretty successful locals. Unfortunately, still ended up in 5th place, not in the top 4, but you know what, I'll take it. My total record over the last 2 weeks is 7-1-2, so I am not complaining about that at all. That is pretty damn good. Especially since today, I don't think I played a single deck that I wouldn't consider at least like solid level rogue. So you know, I'll take those. I'll take those results given the opposition. So we're gonna get through with the deck list real quick. I'm only really gonna highlight cards that I had changed since last week, or some things that I think were important, worth noting on certain cards, how they performed, and all that stuff. Potential cards I'm gonna change out. And let's get into it from there. So starting off, triple Ariana, obviously best normal summon in the deck. Best starter, in my opinion, aside from just hard opening welcome. 1 copy of Backcheck, added this to the list, and then we also play all 3 of these at 1. Backcheck was actually really good. And actually, you know what, I will say, 1 was good. I've seen people play multiple, and I get it, like in a Shizu tier format, if they're gonna mill 3 blind versus you, you have the chance to hit this, but a lot of respectable, like, Shizu tier players aren't going to mill blind until they make Dweller, or, like, you know what I mean, have a check for something you might have in Grave. And so, I don't know. It's just a little weird. They're not giving you that consistently. I don't think it's worth, like, maxing out. Maybe I'd consider 2, but I'll say as far as, like, actively looking for him and sending him off of a glitch, I only did it once per duel. I never needed a second one, so I will take that. These were fine. Didn't really see them that much. Searched them once or twice, but that was mostly it. And then this guy. So this guy, I will say, I think I want to cut him. I drew him 3 times. 2 times he was completely dead. I think I lost one of those duels and won the other one just because everything else was really good in my hand. And then I think the 3rd time it was like fine. Like I made use of it. It was pretty good. But I hard drew it. It's not like I even searched it out, which is why I play it as a 1-up. You don't draw that often, but you can search it off Ariana when you really need it and want to get like to a play where you're able to like make a trap live. All in all, I just think like the times this card comes up is not worth me drawing it 2 to 3 times a locals and like 2 of those times not being playable. So I don't know. I just don't find myself looking for this route. It isn't really enticing to me. I don't know. I think it's really worth cutting. Potentially. The boss monsters, sorry. Double Lady Labyrinth, 1 Lovely Labyrinth, and 1 End of Anubis, new card added to the deck. We have a way to pretty much just get this out of the deck or out of the hand or out of the graveyard if he ever ends up in any of those spots. So he's insane. He's an insane floodgate. If you don't know about this card, neither player can target cards in the graveyard or activate effects in the graveyard. So no Ishii, no Mudora, no Keldo from grave, no Bestials because they need to target a monster in grave. And no tears can trigger when they hit the graveyard. So this card's absolutely insane versus them if you can get to it. But the one thing I'll say is Mudora and Keldo can keep this from keep you from getting it from grave or deck pretty much, because from deck you send it to the grave and then you reborn it really quick. We'll talk about that later. But I want a free game off of tier with it. I want a free duel off of another graveyard deck with it. We'll talk about that later. And then yeah, the rest is fine. If you want to play double lady, go for it. I wouldn't play. If you want to play triple lady, go for it. I wouldn't play double lovely though. Just wouldn't recommend it. And then 2 Lava Golem. This card is fine. I think like the 1 or 2 times I saw it, it was pretty good. But aside from that, you know, didn't see it a ton actually. Compared to last week, it was really good, but that was before Shizu came out. So we'll talk more about the matchups there. Labyrinth, playing this at 2. Got to play it at 2, I think, because if 1 gets removed, your engine doesn't make interruption anymore. It's really bad. Triple Prosperity. Yeah, this card is just correct. If you can't afford it, Extravagance is fine. For sure, but if you have a choice, Prosperity is the correct choice. It just is. Post side deck especially, like, so important. Into the traps, triple Welcome Labyrinth. This card is bananas. I love this card. It's the best card in the deck, pretty much. Summons a monster from deck and recurs itself every single turn. Yes, please. Removal traps, triple Compulse, double Glitch, double Punishment, double Overroot. So a lot of changes here. These 2 are the same, but these are completely different. I dropped Ice Dragon's Prison. I dropped Ledger Book, and then I dropped something else. What else did I have in here? I feel like I had one other one in here, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Whatever. Yeah, these actually no, I don't think I did. I think those were all I cut. Gas's Glitch was really nice. If you're gonna play the End of Anubis, you should play this card because if you have the field spell, you just send Anubis while popping a card, and then the field spell just reborns him. So if you have those two cards set up, you're just gonna like pop a card and lock your opponent from the graveyard all in one go. It's really good. If they have Mudora Keldo in rotation, they'll be able to keep it from hitting the field, but at least you force it out, which is cool. Or you can go Backjack as well. That's what the other target here that came up a couple times. So yeah, this was pretty good. And then Compulse. Compulse is just the safest option. It's just so flexible, right? Non-once per turn, so multiples is good. You can even dodge stuff by bouncing your own monsters and even triggering like all your effects. It's pretty good. And it's the cleanest removal versus tier, right? Like hitting any of their extra deck monsters. So I like that as well. It was pretty good. It was pretty solid. Overroot was also really good, and Punishment was good versus Flu. Moving into other normal traps, double Imperm, 1 D barrier, and 1 Trap Trick. Add another Imperm and the D barrier. So Imperm it fits really well with the rest of your interruptions. Although, to be honest, I think it's possible we play Lost Wind here. Because I find myself seeing Imperm and I like don't even want to fire it. I almost want to just set it and use it to like resolve traps on my opponent's turn. But I don't know. I don't know about that fully yet. But yeah, it's fine. It's like having a negate to pair with all the removal is really nice. And D-Barrier. Oh, also the other interaction, you can set this off of Lady Labyrinth. Once your opponent's already set a card, like into the same column, that way it can be a spell and trap negate. It's pretty cool. And then D-Barrier. So the idea of D-Barrier was game 1, if I ever did the like combo where you set any normal trap going first, I just looked at my list and I was like, oh yeah, I don't even have a really good normal trap that's like a blowout crazy card that I could be setting. So let me play 1 D-Barrier in the main, right? If it's Sprite, I'm calling Exceed, and like they just have to play with links, which means they're not doing like anything. Or versus tier, I call Fusion, and like they're just doing graveyard setup and like no actual fusion stuff, which is pretty good as well. So it's good. And then Trap Trick. Yeah, this card is really good. I saw this a couple times. Hit it off Backjack once. I think I hard drew it once or twice. It was really good. It was really good to just get me into whatever I was missing or needed at any instance, whether it's Imperm for an actual negate, any of the removal traps, or Welcome. It's all really good. And then the rest, the like non-synergistic traps, I should say. Solemn Strike was pretty good. I didn't see it a ton, but the times I did, it was good. I passed a turn on a Floowandereeze player with that. Rivalry was really good at least twice when I saw it. Still liking that. And then evenly matched, I think I evenly matched a Exorcister once, and that was the only time I used it, but it almost won me the game by itself, so we'll take that. Into the extra, it's going to be very, very quick here. These are the only links you would ever summon. I only summoned this when I normal summoned Backjack because I had no other normal in my hand. Other than that, didn't summon a single other one, but they're fiends, so you can, except for Dark. DDD, Wave King Caesar, King Tell, and Deuce Machinex to make if you put 2 Arianas on the field. But to be honest, you usually just don't do that because you like having Ariana on the field. She draws you a card every turn, so whatever. I don't know. You can make these, but like it's never come up. I usually don't even get 2 Ariana on the field very often. And then for the punishment targets, double Intis, 1 Garura, 1 Cyberdark End, Omega, and Aggregator. All 5 of these, or 4 of these came up. Garura did not. And funny enough, I think I might want to play a 3rd Intis in that matchup versus Flu, where I had to just keep setting punishments because it's like really good at just clearing their little birds before they get a chance to do an actual tribute summon. The 3rd one of this would have come up. I still ended up winning that duel, luckily, but like it would have been cleaner if I had had the 3rd one of that. So maybe just be safe and play 3 of that if you're worried about it, like me potentially. And then for the side, Triple Shifter, never saw this, but I cited it I think 2 or 3 times. Lava Golem, never saw that, at least that copy. Commons. Double Lightning Storm, I added this in because I found that like versus the non-tier decks in the format, going second, I was just like, oh, I guess evenly Harpy's Feather Duster is good. But then I'm like, I look at Floowandereeze and I'm like, have to take Rivalry out, that's 2 copies. Have to take Lava Golem out, that's 2 copies. And I have to take End of Anubis out. That stuff has to come out. It is dead versus that deck. That's 5 cards. So I added these 2, so it gives us like it gives us enough to side in, and then we can just also side this. This is decent enough. against that deck. So that we have 5 cards worth swapping around for it. And just random matchups, you know, you'll see rogue decks that really don't appreciate this card. So yeah. And then for this, evenly, yeah, you got to play third evenly. 1 destructive Daruma Karmic Cannon. This card is pretty cool. Just helps you versus tower decks and like stuff like Sprite. Sprite really hates this card, so like that. And then going first, triple Judgment, double Eradicator, 1 a pointer. Resolved this like twice. I don't think I drew the others at all, but luckily right now, people seem to even now be shifting a little bit away from evenly. It's a little bit worse right now versus tier than it was, you know, prior. And nobody plays Lightning Storm. So honestly, this deck's in a pretty good spot, but I'm still fearful that like, you know, 1 evenly can like make you cry. So still got to be ready for it if it does come. So that's it for the list. Going into the matchups here, round 1, I played a 60 card like graveyard pile deck. It had like a Shizu stuff in it. It had BA stuff in it, like just trying to mill all these types of cards that give you value in grave. But he said he had just made it, and I think some of his ratios might have been a little sus and not fully consistent as far as like guaranteeing like really good mills all the time. So he just ended up having some consistency issues. I think I did end up still needing to go to game 3 here because one of his games he did just kind of start popping off and running away with it. But we ended up getting it in game 3 convincingly. He bricked up in game 3 and we got it from there. Round 2, we go to a Shizu tier. This was our Shizu tier matchup of the day. Game 1, I go first, but he Herald Kelbecks my Ariana, and then his mill was like insane. It was like double Mudora, a Keldo, another Kelbeck, and a tier name that he was able to trigger and fuse with on my turn. I didn't even end up passing turn. I ended up scooping before he even got to his turn because I just looked at what I had and I was like, there's no way. We just lose. So yeah, game 2, I end up going first and I end up setting up the End of Anubis plus a rivalry and he just can't break through it. And then game 3 was like a really close one. It was actually a really weird match because I opened the one backjack with Chandra. So I had that hand trap play where you like pitch backjack on your opponent's turn, set a trap. It was actually trap tricks. So then I was able to go for like an overroot. And so he was playing like he was like, this is so weird. I was like, I've never had to like play this way going first, like where you have like multiple traps set and all this stuff. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. I also had Lava Golem in my hand, but I only had like 1 or 2 cards after that. And I think I also had Lovely Labyrinth in my hand. So maybe if that was like any other like playable card, like another normal trap, I might have been able to win, but just not with that extra brick. So it is what it is, but he ended up getting, it was close though. It was like, we were both kind of like, I really am not sure. I honestly just went for it. I was like, I don't even know if it's correct to actually go for the backjack play immediately and not hold it and try to like play into the board and set stuff. Just like let him do his thing and then I'll set my stuff into his board. But it didn't work out that way. It was okay. I wasn't mad about it because I definitely like got some good experience off of it. For sure, but you know, close 2-1 on that one, but I'll take the L on it. I will say this, before we move on, the Mudora and Keldo are brutal versus this deck. Past turn 1, like over half of your advantage that you generate comes from Grave. So my advice to anybody who's going to play against a Shizu tier, lean on Ariana and lean on Lady Labyrinth. Get them on the field and then set a trap from deck every turn and draw a card every turn. That should be your main goal when you play a Shizu tier, is just do these because they can't Mudora and Keldo those resources. They're going to hit the Welcome Labyrinths. They're going to hit the Chandras and the Stovies in Grave to keep those from coming back. Just focus on these 2. Even if you have to like say like, I'm not even going to summon Lovely Labyrinth this duel. Like focus on those and just get those pluses because that's how you're going to be able to potentially grind them in a duel. So yeah, that was round 2. Round 3, play Exosister. The Exosister matchup is unfathomable. Now, I don't want to say unfathomably easy, but man, I've not struggled with it. They just can't. Even going second, I feel confident a lot of the time. I mean, to be fair, they could definitely just blow you out at times, but as long as you avoid the blowout, you're going to win in the grind every time. So you just got to get the game to a grind, and that's just the main goal. Round 4, Adventure Sprite. He goes first game 1. I think he just makes like a pretty insane board for Adventure Sprite. I mean, it was like, You know, he got the Griffin on board. He's got like a red, a set smashers, and I think like another. He didn't make Toad, but he had something else. I can't even remember what else he ended on, but whatever. I wasn't going to break through it. So I just scoop. Game 2, he doesn't know what I'm playing, so he show him I'm pretty much playing a trap deck. He can't beat it. And then we go to game 3, in which going second, I pretty much just like, he kind of bricks up, but going second, I just like flip a rivalry. And yeah, that's just the game. He like rivalry with 1 removal trap wins the game versus Adventure Sprite. So yeah, the game was just over. So 2-1 there. And then we moved around 5, played Fluanderies. Kind of scared of this matchup because I don't think it's necessarily out of my favor. I think it's a pretty even matchup, but the scary thing is definitely Ryza. Ryza is for sure the scariest thing. If they resolve a Ryza, they're probably just ahead in the duel, and it's going to be hard to come back. So you kind of have to play for that. But yeah, it's really scary. So like the other thing too is like this deck has multiple ways to just get continual normal summons, and if they can eventually get to a tribute for a Ryza, like they're just clearing your shit because we don't play enough negate stuff, and they can chain block. So like strike isn't hitting a Ryza if they're able to chain block it, and you kind of have to see like exactly imperm. That's how you stop them from like resolving Ryza on you. Otherwise, you can just get blown out. So game 1, I end up like sneaking a win because 1, he didn't know the matchup that well, and 2, I also think I just I'm kind of proud. I think I played it well. And then game 2, he goes first, and I think he just has enough, and my hand was a little bit worse that game. Didn't really have it. I think I saw too many side deck cards that game. And then, if I remember correctly, and then game 3, I end up going first. He's not able to get much going. I see a lot of like too many side deck cards, but his hand's pretty weak as well. So I end up like striking his normal summon, and he just passes from there. And I'm able to just like get a ton going at that point and just run away with advantage and get the dub in game 3. So another 2-1 there, and brings our record out to 4-1. Not mad at all, especially since like looking at these matchups, like Tier was the only like meta Tier 1 deck, but like Sprite, Exosister, Fluanderies, some people would literally call those the 3 next best decks after Tier. Exosister's so-so, but like it plays Shifter, so it like kind of, you know, has something to play against Tier with. But yeah, it's pretty happy. And even the other one was like the 60-card Graveyard deck was still a Tier deck. He was just probably has to figure out some kinks with it. So I'll take it 100%. Those results are definitely good to me. Within the last 2 weeks, I'm 7-1-2 with the deck. I'm not mad about that at all. I want to see better results versus a Shizu Tier. We'll see where we end up there. But yeah. So all in all, that's where we're at, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Definitely have a couple cards that I'm going to look at cutting. If I cut the Coup Clock, I probably also cut Dimensional Barrier because we won't have the turn 1 combo to set any trap after that. So we might just have 2 more slots in the deck. I did have situations where I didn't feel like I was drawing enough normal traps or even like an engine card. I think 1 or 2 games I just like didn't see an engine card. So maybe I'll play another Stovey, maybe another Chandra. I don't know. I'm going to mess around with it. And this is one of those situations where like it just would like, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying like I felt like I'm missing like normal traps sometimes, and I'm missing like access to my engine sometimes. When the new trap card comes out, it literally does both. So that card fixes just so many things for the deck. Or not fixes, but like just helps the consistency, helps finding utility in terms of removal or engine access. It's really, really good, and that card will definitely be huge when we get it, but I can't wait until we do. But deck's still good until then. Gonna keep rocking with it probably at least for the next couple weeks here, and see where we're at. And yeah, so there you go. There's my my recap. 4-1. I'm gonna count it as like a topping record. It didn't technically top, but 4-1's still pretty good in my eyes. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, guys. Any thoughts on the build, any suggestions for things I should change about it, add to it? I'd love to hear it down below because I'm trying to make this deck as good as it can be. I hate that like right now making the deck as good as it can be kind of just feels like, oh, just you got to just build whatever beats Tier. But that's the reality we're in here. So we're going to keep chugging along, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.